And welcome back to Patience is a Virtue, the YouTube channel devoted to finding value in future sports wagering. My name is Andrew, and on today's episode, we're going to take a look at a few of the markets that we've already discussed on previous videos to see where they're standing and if there's any value or futures that we need to play to adjust the positions that we already have. So we're going to start off with the WNBA Player of the Year award. Now, currently in the market, we have Nafisa Collier is the favorite. The best price on her is minus 230 over at FanDuel. Next would be Caitlin Clark. Best price is 400 at DraftKings. And then after that, you have Asia Wilson. Now, her price is kind of all over the place, and it shows how it's very important to shop around in books, but you can get her anywhere from 750 to plus 1200. So early in the season, the favorites were both Caitlin Clark and Asia Wilson. And then Nafisa Collier, she was in third place. Now, Asia Wilson, although she's been playing very well, her team hasn't been great. They're still a good team. The Aces are still a good team, but she just has not lived up to, I guess, the voters' expectations at this point. And there might also, again, be some voter fatigue. So, Caitlin Clark was the favorite for a while, and then she got hurt, and she's currently still out. She's going to be out for about 2 weeks. Now, when that happened, Nafisa Collier, whose odds had been shortening, she definitely went to the favorite. She became a heavy favorite over minus 300 at that point. Now, since then, her odds have lengthened just a little bit. They've gone back towards even, and Caitlin Clark's odds have actually gone down a little bit. They've shortened, despite the fact that she is actually still currently out. Now, my guess on this is the fact that the Fever have really not performed well without her in the lineup. And it's very possible that the voters and the bookies are taking a look at this and saying, if the Fever are able to return to their preseason and early season form, in which they had one of the best offenses and a great defense as well, that's just going to show how important Caitlin Clark is. And that could ultimately end up translating to votes for Player of the Year. So I think that is a possibility as to why she is slowly shortening and why Nafisa Collier is slowly lengthening. Now, in terms of how we want to play this, if you do already have a position on both these two players, I would actually just stand pat. I wouldn't do anything. The only thing that you might want to do is that if you need to even out maybe Caitlin Clark a little bit, if you want to buy just a little bit more of her, this would be a good time to do it because it's likely that her number is just going to start getting shorter and shorter as she begins to come back. If you don't have Nafisa Collier or you want to add her, I would actually go ahead and wait to see if her position does get a little bit better as Caitlin Clark comes back. But at this point, I really think it's down to about the two of them, barring some kind of long-term injury to either side. I think it's probably going to come down to one of these two players. So at this point, you really want to see if you can find a way to get yourself a position on both of them. Again, I wouldn't buy Collier right now. Her number is just a little bit too long, but I think it might shorten up here pretty soon and become a better price for you. And if you need some Caitlin Clark, I'd probably go ahead and buy right around now. I think it's only going to get a little bit shorter at this point. So that's how we're going to proceed with the Player of the Year award. So next up, let's take a look at the Stanley Cup Finals. Now, before the series, I was looking at it going to either 6 games or 7 games total. And currently, the series is tied 1-1 after 2 games. So right now, I think we're in a very good position for our tickets, either a 6-game ticket or a 7-game ticket to hit, as both these two teams only need to win one more game to ensure that the series goes to at least 6 games. If you take a look at the exact score lines, the two shortest lines at the books are generally Edmonton to win 4-3 or Florida to win 4-2, meaning that the books really do think that this is going to go at least 6 games, and I agree with that. So if you have a ticket for 6 games and 7 games, you're in a pretty good position to be able to cash at least one of those two. So right now, what I would do, I would actually hold pat if you have a ticket on either of those outcomes until we see what happens after game 5. Now, if one of these two teams is up 3-1, you can take a look at hedging on the series if you think you need to. But really, it's been fairly even, and these 2 games have come down into overtime winners. So I don't expect either side to win the next 3 games and to close out in 5. So I think we really are in a very good position for a 6 or 7 game ticket to cash. So right now on our NHL Stanley Cup future, I'm just going to go ahead and hold pat and not do anything. And finally, I want to take a look at the NBA Finals. So before the series, I promoted Oklahoma City to be leading 3-0 after 3 games. And obviously, with Indiana's win in game one, that ticket has already lost. But if you have Oklahoma City 2-1, that game, that ticket, I should say, is still open, is still possible. And what you want to do is you probably want to wait until after game two to see where it stands, to see how it proceeds. Now, obviously, if Indiana wins that game as well, your ticket is lost. But if Oklahoma City wins and they're dominant, I think it's possible that you could still win this ticket, that Oklahoma City could go into Indy and be able to win game three. Now, it certainly will be a tough atmosphere. So, if you have a 2-1 ticket, you definitely might want to look at hedging on the Pacers in game three if you think you need to. Now, if you think Oklahoma City is still going to win this series despite being down 1-0, the series money line price has dropped from about 700 before the series began to around 300. Just shop around and find your best price on that. Now, if you don't mind laying that much juice, you could just take the money line on Oklahoma City to win the series. Based on everything we've seen in the regular season and all the stats, it is still likely that Oklahoma City will be able to pull this out despite losing home court advantage and being down 1-0. Now, that is a lot of juice, but again, it is the most likely outcome at this point. If you do want to find a little bit more value instead of just the simple money line price, you could look at an exact ticket on Oklahoma City to win either 4-2 or 4-3. I think the Pacers are probably good for at least one more win in this series. You could take a look at 4-1 on Oklahoma City if you wanted to. But I think 4-2 or 4-3 is probably the more likely outcome. Again, if you want to get some more value on Oklahoma City to ultimately win the series. Now, if you believe in the Pacers, I would also look on the best price on Indiana to win either 4-2 or 4-3. I think a sweep is pretty unlikely that they'd be able to pull that off, or even winning 4-1. I think Oklahoma City is probably good for at least 2 games, 2 wins in this series. So you can better your odds on the Pacers instead of taking simply a money line on this series. I would go ahead and look for an exact price on either 4-2, which would mean that the Pacers would win in Indianapolis. That could be a big benefit for them, or for the Pacers to win 4-3 in the final game of the series. So those are 2 other bets that you can take a look at. And that's going to do it for this episode. Always remember to gamble responsibly, never bet more than you can afford to lose. And remember, patience is a virtue.